Should I tell my mom that my stepdad has 5 sugar babies? Here's a little family history. My mom and my real dad got divorced when I was 12, and I'm now 19. I've lived with my mom this whole time, and I see my dad every single weekend. A year ago, my mom decided to start dating, and she signed up to a couple of dating apps. She went on a few dates and finally met this one guy. She went on a few dates with him and found out that he's very rich, and he also love-bombed her. That was a huge red flag for me. My mom told me that he would compliment her all the time and tell her that he missed her after like the second date. After their third date, my mom came home crying. She told me he was trying to get physical with her and she didn't want him to. And apparently he was very pushy about it. I got really angry and I asked my mom not to see him again. But guess what? This guy shows up to her house the following day. When I opened the door, he was wearing a Rolex, Gucci belt and shoes, and he was holding a bunch of roses. He apologized to my mom and asked her to make it up to her. And my mom accepted. But I got a really bad feeling from him. After 2 more dates, he asked her to be his girlfriend and my mom said yes. But this is when things get really scary. He would text her every single hour asking her where she was and who she was with. Huge red flag. But my mom thought this meant he loved her. A month later, he asked her to marry him. Part 2 is up. Should I tell my mom that I found out my stepdad has 5 sugar babies? After a full month of dating, he asked her to marry him and she said yes. She came home with a big diamond ring and I started to cry. I begged her not to get married, but she said that she loved him. And to celebrate, he asked me and my mom if we wanted to go to dinner. So I decided to ask him a few questions. He took us to a really fancy restaurant, of course. And he gave my mom and I matching Tiffany bracelets. So I asked him why he wasn't married yet. He said he was waiting for the right woman. I also told him that I didn't like how controlling he was with my mom. He promised that he would change that. Of course, my mom was super angry with me, but I didn't care. I asked him if he had any social media and he said no, but something told me he was lying. After the dinner, I got home and spent 3 hours looking for him on Instagram, and I finally found his account. I showed it to my mom and she told me that she didn't care and to stop searching for him. She told me that she trusted him. So I did further investigating. I noticed 2 things. Only women followed him and he only followed women. So I DM'd some of the girls that followed him. Luckily, one of them got back to me and confessed to me that she was his sugar baby. And she also told me that he had 4 more sugar babies. She gave me all their names and I messaged every single one. And it turns out one of them is pregnant. Part 3 is up. Should I tell my mom that my stepdad has 5 sugar babies and that one of them is pregnant? I was finally able to speak to all the sugar babies on Instagram, and one of them told me that she was pregnant. I asked her how they met and she said through a dating app, just like how we met my mom. By the way, I forgot to mention, my mom is 35 and he's 53, so he's a lot older than her. The same girl also told me that he would give her $7,000 a month, and that he would take her on trips, and that apparently he had a girl for every single day of the week. She was his Monday. Of course, this girl begged me not to tell my mom anything, and I did feel bad for her. She clearly depended on him financially, and she even might be pregnant, so I wasn't about to tell my mom who told us the information. So here's what I did. I took screenshots of his Instagram and of his active profiles on dating apps. I showed everything to my mom, but she told me she didn't care, and that there was probably a logical explanation. And they did end up getting married. The wedding was small but really nice, and they went on their honeymoon. Part of me didn't want to just ruin my mom's life by telling her everything, and also part of me didn't want to jeopardize the other girl. So I kept quiet about it. So on the days where I didn't have school, I decided to start following him. I followed him for 3 days, and I finally was able to get a picture of him with another girl. Of course, this was one of his sugar babies. I tried to contact this girl on Instagram, but she wouldn't message me back. I had all the evidence ready to show my mom, but one day she shows me a pregnancy test and it's positive. So now this guy got my mom and his sugar baby pregnant. My mom and him moved into the new house that he had built for them. It's really beautiful. Her life with him is really nice, aside from the fact that he's a cheater. Should I tell my mom or should I keep this to myself? I don't want to ruin my mom's life, but I don't want her to get hurt. What should I do?
Am I wrong for telling my girlfriend her getting another tattoo will change the way I look at her? I, 23 male, have been dating my girlfriend, 22 female, for around 2 years. She had a tattoo done when she was 18, though I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I've never said anything since she looks stunning regardless. Around a year back, she asked me on my opinion on tattoos and if I'd mind if she were to get another one. My beliefs are very important to me and are a massive part of my everyday life. Although she's not religious herself, she has always been fully supportive and respectful towards me and my beliefs. I've never tried to pressure her into my religion or force my beliefs onto her, as it is something that one must explore and embrace themselves. The first time we spoke about it, I explained my stance on tattoos clearly, saying how if I were to choose whether she get one or not, I'd rather she didn't. But eventually, that's not my choice to make, and I try to be supportive as much as I can no matter what she does. Though there isn't a clear mention of tattoos in the Quran, the majority of scholars agree that having tattoos is a big sin. However, people that had tattoos done before they converted don't need to get them removed, which is why I was feeling indifferent about her first tattoo. She told me she understood my point of view, and we haven't spoken about it since. Well, not until last night when she brought up getting another tattoo once again and asked me how I'd feel if she were to do it. I openly told her I won't be the one telling her what to do with her own body, but I believe she deserves to hear my honest opinion about it, and if she were to get another tattoo done during our relationship, I'd see her in a different way. Trying to be gentle with my words, I told her how our differences in lifestyle, though not as important right now, will eventually be something we'd have to resolve before settling down. I told her as a friend, if she wanted to get a tattoo done, she should do it and not care about anyone else's opinion. But as someone that eventually plans on settling down with her, I feel obligated to openly express my disapproval. Shortly after, she started crying and told me how she felt I was giving her an ultimatum, which I completely understand and feel awful about. Still, my beliefs remain a crucial part of my life, and I don't think it would have been fair to her if I were to lie about being fine with it either. Lastly, I told her I appreciated her consulting me before making any decisions about her getting a tattoo done won't lead us to breaking up, but it could hinder the way I see our relationship in the long term. Though she eventually seemed unhinged, I can't help but feel I hurt her feelings by not responding how she hoped I would. Am I wrong for the way I reacted? Was there a better way to express my opinion without stirring up an argument?
How do you guys feel about babies at the movies? Genuine question. I get it, you know, a lot of moms, dads, you can't get a babysitter every time and you just want to go to the movie. And some kids are quiet, but not all kids. Most aren't, actually. I've had many a movie theater experience ruined. I went to see A Quiet Place 2. A Quiet Place 2. Got there early, we sat down, we were ready, and in walks mom with an infant. Cousin was seated next to me. She goes, "No. To this movie? Not a quiet place. Not a quiet. It's a quiet place." And we knew. Movie started every 10 minutes. Ah! Ah! Why would you do that to us? I didn't say anything. I want to be sympathetic. I really do. But it was opening day. People around us being like, "Oh my God, why would you bring?" Halfway through this movie, this lady left with her kid. And you could feel everyone be like, "Ah. Finally." But yeah, what do you guys think about that? Because should they like be banned? Should babies not be allowed? I don't know. I feel like it's unfair. That's unfair, but it's also like, I get it. Like, we want to like see the movie. The kid's not gonna know what the movie is. But should we? Should we not? Should there be like a room for the kids? I don't know. Let me know.
My wife and I had our second baby 2 months ago, 9 weeks, and as with our first, I am breastfeeding. The first time around, my family were meh about me nursing. I was much more conservative and covered up until we had a dangerous situation where my daughter overheated and breathed in milk. It was very scary. She's fine now though. Anyway, this time around, I've warded off all types of covers. I am boob free and my daughter has a much easier time nursing. My family formula feeds, so this is all new for them. My brother-in-law is less happy with my recent confidence. We all got invited out for my dad's birthday dinner, and obviously I took my little ones with me. While we were there, my baby got hungry and I fed her, as one does. Afterwards, my brother-in-law mentioned how things like that make him uncomfortable and asked if I'd cover up the baby nursing while eating. I told him no and we ordered. When the food got there, she got hungry again, so I popped out a lady to feed her, you know. He made another comment about not wanting to see boob while he was eating. I was pretty annoyed, so I just apologized with a smile and said something along the lines of, "Sorry, I'll just get this covered for you," and flung the blanket I had on my lap over his head. I'm still proud of myself for managing it, to be honest. A few people outside our family started laughing, and in his flurry to get it off, dropped it into his meal and had to reorder, so we all ate while he had to wait for his food again. I made things pretty tense, but no one mentioned it again. Afterwards, my dad told me that it was immature and he wouldn't be inviting me to a family meal again if that's how I was going to act. Following that, everyone is upset, some even going as far as to call me a bad mother because I was being petty. I personally am not super sure that I was in the wrong, as my wife nor anyone else thinks so, but they all tend to be quite nice to me post-baby due to hormones. Obviously, I feel pretty bad about making him wait for his food, but that wasn't directly my fault.